week 2 of the 55-year-old unemployed grandma. A couple weeks ago, my corporate job riffed me from my position, and it was pretty gut-wrenching. Still is pretty gut-wrenching.
Are there any other Gen Xers out there that are jobless and finding it impossible to find a job? Or is it just us? My husband and I have been out of work, and we've been doing side hustles, but it's barely keeping us afloat. And come this next month, all savings is depleted. It won't keep us afloat. It's just freaking scary. Nothing prepared us for this. To be in our 50s and wondering how the heck we're going to survive.
Gen X, is anyone else unemployed right now, or is it just me? I didn't expect to be out of work this long.
It's been a year.
You ever lose your job at 50 and think, I should have been a rich auntie by now? You know, I didn't think that I would be in a position at 50 years old and be unemployed.
I had a down day yesterday after receiving 4 more rejection emails. It's more competitive out there than I've ever seen in my life in the job market. To apply to a job and you're 1 against 100, I know that I've never ever had that kind of competition in my life.
Gen X, is anyone else unemployed right now, or is it just me? I genuinely debated not making this video. In fact, I didn't want to, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I didn't expect to be out of work this long.
It's been a year.
It's been longer than a year. And this has never happened before. Not counting grad school yet, no. Correction, I was laid off from my very first job, and that was actually, ironically enough, the last time I was ever laid off. But that was easy. I just moved back in with my parents. It was no big deal. But among the many things that this time has taught me is that things that were really cute and understandable when you were 25 aren't that cute when you're getting closer to 50. At 25, you have all these people to commiserate with because everybody else is kind of in the same boat. They're either unemployed, underemployed, or they're just starting out in their careers and they're not quite sure where they're going yet. My peers are CEOs, or they own their own businesses, or they have thriving careers. They're grown-ups. And at this age, they lead with either what do you do for a living, or some of us are in Gen X are even retired now. Seriously, some of the groups and people I've been hanging out with are retirees because these are the only other people in my age bracket that aren't currently working. I'm laughing because I don't like crying on the internet. I just need to know, is anybody else out here? Is anyone else in Gen X who is also experiencing this job market and has been unemployed for any length of time, and you are going out of your mind?
So to answer her question, yes, there are many other Gen Xers who are going through exactly what she's going through, laid off or fired or what have you, and they can't find another job, and they're struggling because number one, the economy is tough, as we all know, and tough is an understatement. And two, there's some ageism going on in the workforce, and a lot of companies, let's be honest, are not as keen to hire someone who's of a certain age. So she's in the middle of that. Now, she did talk about the other side of the coin too. The other side of the coin is there are some older employees, Gen Xers, boomers, who have good jobs, who have stable employment, who have a career that they're working up, or they're right at the top of the ladder, and even some that are retiring or retiring soon. So while it's not all bad, there are many people in her position. And part of me wonders what the difference is between someone like her and someone like her peers who she was talking about, who lead with what do you do for a living, who are close to retirement or who have these good careers or longevity in their careers, versus someone like her who's been unemployed for a year. And there's many factors that could play into that, such as what she chose to do for a living. Did she work a career or does she work a job? Did she work in something that's corporate or does she work in something that is more blue collar, retail? I don't know. And it's not even, honestly, blue collar retail, you can have longevity in those careers too. So I'm not quite sure what she did wrong, but obviously there's something that she did that didn't lead her to the same good outcome that her peers are facing. Let me know in the comment section what you think that could be, because again, it's just a tale of two cities almost. It's those Gen Xers who are doing really well and those Gen Xers who are not.
Are there any other Gen Xers out there that are jobless and finding it impossible to find a job? Or is it just us? My husband and I have been out of work, and we've been doing side hustles, but it's barely keeping us afloat. And come this next month, all savings is depleted. It won't keep us afloat. And we just can't find a job. Nobody's calling. We're sending out resumes. Nobody's calling. He's got 2 interviews. Both ended up filling from within, so they say. And it's just freaking scary. Nothing prepared us for this. To be in our 50s and wondering how the heck we're going to survive. And we have small children. We have a 10 and 11-year-old. So it's not just like us. Very stressful. Very stressful. And we closed our company because of the stress. because I was having heart issues and the doctor said no more stress. So this is way more stress. I mean, I'm seriously thinking about trying to figure out the O page. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do people really pay to see that kind of stuff? Would they pay to see an old Whisker Biscuit? I take hormones. She's not shrinking like they say all over TikTok. She's in good health. I don't know.
Okay, so the last part there was interesting. Hard times call for desperate measures, and she's talking about possibly going on the O page, if you all know what that means, creating some content that is for a mature audience. That being said, there are a couple things going on here with her. One is that her and her husband both had kids a little bit later in life, as you can see, because they're in their 50s. She said she's a 10 and 11-year-old, so they had kids in their 40s. That's one, so they're dealing with young children. Two, they had a business, and so they haven't really been in the job market, and so it might be more difficult for them to find a job because of that. They're not in the whole system of working the way up the ladder, of having experience at different companies. So then you go to another company and say, oh, okay, you worked at Microsoft. Oh, okay, you worked at Amazon or wherever. Okay, you can come work for us. They have to find a way to take their experience from having their own business and to make it into something that's appealing for a company, which, believe it or not, can be a bit challenging. Another thing that's going on is that they are both laid off at the same time in their 50s. So that's difficult. Or not laid off. Maybe they just didn't have a job because they were owning their own business. But it's not just one of them, it's both of them. So it's not like one can lean on the other person for work. They're both kind of figuring out together. And number 3 or 4, I forgot at this point, I lost count. The job market's already tough enough in general, which I've said. So you have all these things compounding on one another. The young kids, the fact the job market's already tough for everybody, the fact that they're a bit older looking for work, and the fact they haven't even been in the workforce as employees. They've been in the workforce owning their own business. So yeah, there's a lot going on here, a lot of compounding issues and struggles she's dealing with. So hopefully she can figure them out without having to go the route of O page. Again, I guess if that's what you're into, that's fine. But this is just another example of how people are trying to figure out how to make it work. Some people are going that route. Some people she's doing side hustle. Some people are laid off and then try to start their own business. The opposite of what she's going through. People are just trying to make it work however they can.
Hey friends, update on week 2 of the 55-year-old unemployed grandma. For those of you that don't know, a couple weeks ago, my corporate job riffed me from my position, and it was pretty gut-wrenching. Still is pretty gut-wrenching, but I've tried hard to have a really positive mindset, and I think I've moved forward. I think I have somewhat of a plan, which is exciting. I'm pursuing becoming a realtor. I'm hoping to have my license by the end of May, and I'm really excited to do this career change for my life. I think it's going to be exhilarating, challenging, all the good stuff. So wish me well and follow me on that journey.
Okay, so there you go. Like I said before, an example of someone who was laid off. She was in a reduction in force, a RIF, and now she's in her 50s and going, well, I don't have a job anymore. What do I do? It's hard to find another job right now because the economy sucks, like I said, and because I'm older, what do? She's deciding to go work for herself in a sense as a realtor or as a salesperson. And again, that's a lot of times what people are finding themselves having to do, either starting their own business as a consultant maybe because they have all these years of experience. They're gonna now go take that to a company as a consultant or as a contractor, or people are doing things that are sales positions because they're easier to get into. And that's kind of the nature of things. Now, again, it's not for everyone. So maybe she'll be good at it, maybe she won't. Not everyone's built to be their own boss. Not everyone's built to have their own company. Not everyone's built to be an employee. So another example of someone who's trying to figure out a way to make it work. Some people are going the OF route. Some people are going the real estate route. Some people are going to start their own business route. But if you're a person who's laid off and you're a bit older, you have to find a way to make it work that might be outside the box as opposed to just going to apply for another job. Because again, it makes me wonder who are companies hiring? If they're not hiring Gen Xers and they're not hiring millennials and they're not hiring whoever's after millennials, Gen Z, I guess are they only hiring people who are baby boomers? I don't know. I don't get it. It seems like, or is it just that what we're seeing is that people are talking about how they're not being hired, but there's a lot of people that are just doing fine. I don't know. Maybe it's not all so much doom and gloom. With that being said, there are people in her position. And again, you have to just figure it out.
You ever lose your job at 50 and think, I should have been a rich auntie by now, I didn't think that I would be in a position at 50 years old and be unemployed. When you're in your 20s and you lose your job, you just think, all right, I'll just get another job. It is what it is. And this ain't the first time I've been in a situation where I've had to get another job. Ain't the first time. But this time hits a little differently this time. Because unlike in the past, when if I was put in a situation where I was going to lose my job or I did lose my job, I would be frazzled, but I would, instantly go out and get another job. This time I'm surprisingly at peace and calm. I had to take some time to think about like that. Like, why am I so calm and I know I'm unemployed? I know how high things are. I know how expensive it is to live in America. Why am I so at peace? And you know what I figured out? I'm at peace because I know I can count on me. And it could have just been all this time leading up to this moment. I could have really been doing the things I really wanted to do with my life and making money doing those things. But I let fear and comfort in what I thought was security keep me entrenched in places and things that in the end ended up betraying me anyway.
Sounds like she's going through like a midlife crisis. So she got laid off from her job, it sounds like, at 50. And I guess that event caused her to reflect on her life. And she's now realizing that instead of giving her years to this job or these jobs, she would have preferred to chase her dreams and do something that fulfilled her for money, she says. That being said, I don't know how she's calm in this situation. Because like she said, in her 20s, she'd just go get another job. Now it's a lot more difficult to go get a job, especially when you are a bit older. So I don't know if she's now thinking, okay, I'll take this chance in my life to actually pursue what I wanted to do all along. Or maybe maybe it hasn't hit her yet. I'm not sure. But I'm kind of confused right now. So we'll see.
I didn't end up where I thought I was going to end up just because I did all the right things. Yeah. And I know I'm not the only one that's ever been here before. If you've been unemployed before, if you're unemployed now, have you ever just felt like, yeah, I'm like Tommy on Martin. I ain't got no job, man. But at the same time, I know I'm going to be all right. That's really, I guess, the message of this video today. No matter what happens to you, don't lose sight of the fact that you can always count on you. That's what I could tell you. Don't lose sight that you can always count on you.
So what I'm getting from this is a lot of good words and wishful thinking and self-affirmation, but I'm not getting a lot of practical things from this. She got laid off, and she didn't say what her plan is to get another job, just that she can count on herself. Cool, counting yourself, but as we've seen, it's not easy out here to get a job, no matter what generation you're in. Gen X, Millennial, Gen Y, who are probably too young to even get jobs, boomers. So I don't know what she plans on doing, but as we'll see going through this video, it's not as easy, especially for someone who's 50 plus, to find work.
I had a down day yesterday after receiving 4 more rejection emails, especially for one that I really thought was a good fit. And I thought the interview went well, and I really thought I was going to get that job. It's more competitive out there than I've ever seen in my life in the job market. Like, I can tell you, since I started my professional career after college, I have gotten every single job that I wanted to get. Hands down, no problem. I'm applying for jobs, and, you know, on LinkedIn, at least, it'll tell you how many applicants have already clicked apply. Now, is that for real, or are they just messing with you because you can't believe anything on the internet? You know, maybe. But to apply to a job and you're 1 against 100, I know that I've never, ever had that kind of competition in my life. And then there are people saying that these jobs aren't real. Companies are posting them either A, to just get your information, which all my information's on my LinkedIn, so, or that they're just doing it for optics, like they're trying to look like they're growing and then they're fine. Oh, and if you're hiring someone internally, then don't line up 10 external people to interview and give them hope.
So it sounds like she is now experiencing what it's like to be looking for a job in 2025. Sounds as though she's used to looking for work maybe back in the early 2000s, late 2000s, 2010s, perhaps the 90s even. And it was a bit different back then. Obviously things weren't online, especially back in the 90s. And so now she's seeing, oh, there's 100 applicants I'm going against, which maybe in the past there were just as many, but you just didn't see it because it wasn't online. Or maybe in the past there wasn't, because it wasn't as easy to apply to jobs as it is now, because now all you have to do is go online and submit the application, whereas before you had to go in and do a paper application, all these other things. So it could be both things happening at the same time. And so now she's realizing, now that she's out of work in an older age, that, man, it's more difficult than I thought. Again, not to be a broken record, it is a more difficult time to find a job in general. So that's already that being there. But now you're also having to deal with the competitiveness of the job market and the difference in the job market than maybe she was used to from before. And so now she's just kind of in a stressed out, negative headspace, as she said, because she's trying to figure it out, how to navigate it. Is it even real? Like she said, are these jobs even actually open? Or are they just, Are there even actually 100 people applying for it? Why are these companies doing these things that seem to be games, like posting positions externally that they know they already have someone internally they're gonna hire? Sometimes they're legally required to even post a job externally, believe it or not. So they may already know they want to hire someone internally, but they have to post it externally for a certain period of time. I forget why that is and where that happens, but that could be the case. Nonetheless, she's just going through what people my generation have grown up going through as a millennial and what Gen Z goes through. And if you're someone who's in an advanced age, again, not to be a broken record, gotta find creative ways to find work. And that's not just for Gen Xers or boomers, that goes for every generation right now. You have to find creative ways to find work. You have to increase your skills, always be constantly getting new skills and skills that are marketable, not skills that are maybe fun to you or you enjoy, but that the job market doesn't really value. So that goes for any generation, but especially if you are of an older age. With that being said, guys, I really appreciate you for sticking around the video. Feel free to like the video if you enjoyed it and to subscribe if you feel so too inclined. And until next time, make smart financial decisions.